It's time to replace the screen on an iPhone 7 Plus. This is actually my personal phone, the only phone I have ever broken. On accident. Everything still works great, it's just the screen that shattered to bits. I went to hug a friend and her purse knocked it out of my hand and it was Merry Christmas to the ground. The broken LCD perfectly blocks out the battery life indicator, the time of day, and the name of the person I am texting. So it's definitely time to fix this thing. It's pretty much the exact same process as the regular iPhone 7. There are two pentalobe screws down at the bottom of the phone right next to where the headphone jack used to be. If you need a screwdriver or replacement screen, I will link those for you in the video description right below this video. Now, heat is not 100% mandatory for this repair, but it does help soften the thin band of adhesive that surrounds the screen on all sides. This is a type of waterproofing adhesive, so after completing this repair, your phone will not be water resistant anymore. But if your screen is cracked, it's already not water resistant, so you're not losing too much. I'm taking one of my thin metal pry tools and going between the metal frame of the phone and the plastic edge of the screen and cutting through the adhesive. This makes lifting off the screen a lot easier. Don't slide in very deep though, because there are fragile ribbon cables along that right side of the screen that are very important. The bottom of the screen will lift up first, and then you'll have to pull the top of the screen down and out of the phone frame. Then the whole thing flips open like a book. For this next part, we need a new bit. It is called a Y000 tri-point screwdriver, and I'll include a link for that as well in the video description. There are 7 of these tri-point screws holding down 2 silver plates. It is excruciatingly important that you keep your screws organized. Put them on a separate piece of paper next to you, and draw a picture or label where each screw comes from. Some of them are different sizes. I'll use a plastic pry tool to unsnap the battery connection so that there is no power to the rest of the device, and then I'll start unclipping the little ribbon cables. These are just like little mega blocks. Once the display and fingerprint scanner ribbons are disconnected, you can unsnap the top earpiece ribbon, and that will release the screen from the body of the phone. Here is what the replacement screens look like. Remember, I'll have these linked down in the video description. It is super important to be gentle to the ribbon cables. If they get bent or kinked too far in any direction, your new screen will not work after the installation is complete. We do have to transfer over some of the components to the new screen, like the earpiece and the home button. I'll start with the earpiece. There are 5 screws up here at the top that need to be removed. These ones are regular Phillips head screws. Now that the screws are out, I will remove the top metal bracket and slip out the little earpiece speaker. Then comes the tricky part. This little ribbon cable might look complicated, but it's actually not. It is fragile though, and while it is very inexpensive to replace, it is better just to keep the original intact and not rip anything. So be very gentle with it. It's about as strong as paper is. Each little segment, like the front camera, the proximity sensors, and the little golden circular contact points, have some adhesive holding them to the back of the screen. I'll show you how to origami it back into place in a second. But first, let's get this home button transferred. There are 4 screws that we have down here. These are the same Y000 screws that we were working with before, and once these are out, we can remove the metal bracket. This exposes the guts of the fingerprint scanner touchpad. There is one more super tiny ribbon connector. Remember that this ribbon is also very fragile, so be careful with it, since this original home button does need to be transferred over to your new screen. Once the ribbon cable is lifted up, the button will just fall out from the front side of the phone. There's only one more thing we have to remove from the old screen, and that is the large metal backplate. This also has the Y000 screws on it, 3 on one side, 2 on the other side, and one more little screw down at the bottom. There is some adhesive holding the plate to the ribbon cables. You can lift that up and then slide the whole plate up and away from the back of the old shattered screen. Take that same plate and feed the ribbons from your new working display through the little hole. Being gentle with the ribbons, make sure they are straight and not kinked before you screw the plate down. Get all the metal frame screws into place, 3 on the right, 1 at the bottom, and 2 on the left side. And then the home button gets put back into place from the front side of the screen. There is a little plastic guiding pin on the back side of the screen that will help the little ribbon fall in the exact place that it needs to go. Then it can be snapped into the other little connector right next to it. When you are screwing the screw for the back of the home button, make sure it is snug, but don't go too tight. It is a pretty fragile little piece of tech, and a super aggressive screw might cause damage. Now let's get the front camera and earpiece into place. Remember these little plastic pins I was talking about? These are going to be your friend up here as well. Get the ribbon down by lining those up and getting the little box sensor into place. It'll be like giving a cat a bath, but eventually everything should line up. The speaker gets tucked under the front camera, making sure the gold springs line up on the gold contact circles, and after the camera is tucked into the clear plastic circle, the metal plate holds it all together. And finally, we can attach the screen to the phone body again. I'll start with the 2 ribbons in the center and then clip the top ribbon down right afterward. You'll feel each of them snap into place, just like a little Lego. It has a much better ring to it. The last thing you want to plug in is the battery connector. Before putting on the protective metal plates, I usually test my screen to make sure everything works. If the screen is gray or has lines running through it, it might just be a bad connection. So turn the phone off and reconnect the little ribbons again, and if that doesn't work, one of the ribbons might have gotten bent during the installation. Or it could just be a bad screen. Get the 7 screws back in over the metal plates, and then make sure the top of the screen is lined up with the phone body first, before clamping down the rest of the screen. Also, don't put any stress on the right side ribbon cables. Remember, they're as fragile as paper and very, very important to the functionality of your phone. So don't let them rip. Thumbs up for success, I have a working phone again. I'm normally an Android guy, but I've been using an iPhone for the past few months. I'll have my review video posted with my verdict very, very soon. Let me know if you have any questions. I try to be pretty active down in the comments, and if I don't respond, someone else sure will. You can usually get an answer pretty quick here on my channel. My Twitter followers heard the story of my broken phone the night it happened, so if you want to stay up to date on random stuff like that, head on over to my Twitter. And if you've made it this far in the video, comment your favorite flavor of ice cream. I'm always curious as to who makes it to the end of my videos. I personally prefer Oreo ice cream. The more Oreos, the better. Thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.